The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so true. It does not matter who the host is. I just can't really stop saying that enough, because it is so much more important who is hanging out on the totally opposite side of this thing than who is sitting in front of the microphone and who is sitting in front of the camera. So that is for sure. Anyways, how are you? How are things? How was your weekend? Are you having a fabulous Monday already or no? Anyways, let's talk about it. Today's Monday, October the 24th. Of 2022. Oh, October the 24th, such an important day. It is day 297th of the year and only 68 days left to go. So there you go. There you go. There you go. 68 days left to go. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, USA, Canada, UK. You know, UK, a lot of stuff going on in the UK. We'll see, we can talk about that here in just a bit. But as you know, we talk a little bit about everything, and the things that we talk about immediately are the stuff that are trending.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so talking about the trends of the stuff that was out there. Saturday was National Color Day, just in case you were not aware, but that was what was going on over there. So National Color Day, if you were hanging out over in the world and finding out the things that were going on. Also, additionally, let's talk about it. Rapper 21 Savage was trending Saturday after dropping news about his upcoming album. Sunday was National Croc Day, and yeah, maybe it's the croc that you were thinking. Morgan Freeman was trending on Sunday as Twitter users named him as one of the greatest black actors of all times in response at Miles Commodore tweet. Others listed included Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, and, of course, the comedian, an influencer, yes, because he did have a big influence back in the day, Eddie Murphy. So there you go. In honor of National Tight Ends Day, on Sunday, football fans tweeted out support of their favorite tight ends in the league. I didn't even know there was a league dedicated just to tight ends. So there you go. Some interesting stuff as we are talking. And I will reference this one too, if I can find it now, but maybe I can't find it anymore. Oh yes, this is what I will reference. Taylor Swift thanks all of her fans over the weekend for helping her reach the new Spotify record of the most streams of an album in a single day. She reached the milestone less than 24 hours after the release of her new Midnight album, which dropped on Friday at midnight. Swift soared past a previous record holder Bad Bunny, whose Un Verano Sin Ti album grossed about 183 million streams on day one in September of 2021. Worth noting, fans were eager to listen to the new tracks that Spotify crashed on several occasions, according to Down Decoder. Swift surprised the singer released an additional 7 songs, which many called a chaotic surprise. So there you go. That was the stuff that was trending. So essentially, and listen, I'm going to tell you, not a huge fan. She's all right, but I mean, it's not like I'm going to go out there and listen. That's just me. But good to hear that somebody was crashing Spotify, and not because they have shitty servers. It was just more along the lines of, a lot of people wanting to take a listen to what was going on. Anyways, with that being said, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of commotion, a lot of action going on this lovely Monday. So we're going to hang out and do some things together, because that's what we do. We hang out and do some things together. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process of doing so. Go to callinradio.com. Callinradio.com. That will do some stuff over there. Also, if you're wanting to, take a viewy of what's going on the show, you can do that by going to safetyfm.com/visual radio. And then I guess I'll talk about this now that it's going to play a big, huge factor into everything. We have redesigned some of the website to Radio Big, which a lot of people were like, this is not really a website. This is just a player. Okay, so radiobig.fm. If you go over there now, you can get the player air to do the things that it needs to do. You can just take a look on the website, get to look at our ugly mugs if you want to do that as well. And we'll put some more stuff on there as we are going. Anyways, with that being said, we talk about safety in the news and safety, because that seems like to be some important stuff that people want to talk about. So we'll do that. So with that being said, professional broadcasters in. I will leave for a bit. That way the pros can come in, do the things that they do, and then you can take a listen to what is going on inside of the world.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. A new poll shows voter interest is at an all-time high before the midterm elections. The NBC News survey asked voters to rate their interest level in the midterms on a 0 to 10-point scale. More than 60% said their interest was at a 10. Other polls from the network found the economy is the top issue for voters. Representative Henry Cuellar believes the U.S.-Mexico border is not secure.
When you have 1.7 million individuals last year and another 2.7, that's over 4.5 million individuals encounter at the border. Plus, if you add the getaways, that's going to be over 5 million individuals in just 2 years.
Speaking on Fox News Sunday, the Texas Democrat said not only is the border not secure, but there are no repercussions for those crossing illegally. Cuellar noted we can be compassionate while still enforcing the law. Contrasting himself to his opponent, Cassie Garcia, Cuellar said he's making concrete steps to secure the border, like introducing a $165 million Border Patrol checkpoint in Laredo. Jury selection starts today in the criminal tax fraud trial involving former President Trump's business, the Trump Organization. Chris Caraccio fills us in.
While Trump is not personally charged, the Manhattan DA's office has hit the Trump Organization with 9 counts of tax fraud and other crimes. Former Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg, who had worked for the organization for decades, is expected to testify at some point. He's already been convicted of fraud, sentenced to 5 months in prison, and fined $2 million. I'm Chris Caraccio.
At least 3 people are dead after a shooting during a drag race caravan event in Chicago. It happened early Sunday at an intersection that had been taken over by a group of more than 100 cars. The incident also left 2 others injured, but they are expected to recover. And Bob Evans is recalling more than 7,500 pounds of Italian pork sausage. The product, labeled Bob Evans Italian sausage, might be contaminated with bits of thin blue rubber. You are listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Rishi Sunak could be named Britain's next Prime Minister within hours. Ukraine and its allies have dismissed claims from Moscow that Kyiv is planning to use a dirty bomb. Warships from North and South Korea have fired warning shots at each other, and a museum in Germany says an artwork targeted by climate change activists should be back on display later this week.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Senator Bernie Sanders says Democrats must stand up against corporate greed to create an economy that works.
So I think what the Democrats have got to say is we are going to stand with working people. We're prepared to take on the drug companies. We're prepared to take on the insurance companies and create an economy that works for all of us.
Appearing on CNN's State of the Union, the Vermont Independent noted many American families are struggling while corporations are seeing sky-high profits. He called out Republicans for how they're dealing with inflation, saying they want to cut wages for workers, cut Social Security, and refuse to raise the minimum wage. Sanders also reiterated that the Fed should stop raising interest rates as it only continues to hurt working people. Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb is warning of an increased number of respiratory infections, or RSV, in children this year. On CBS Face the Nation, Gottlieb, now a Pfizer board member, noted there's been a surge in RSV in 33 states so far, and doctors are seeing more flu cases earlier in the year than normal. He urged everyone to get their COVID booster and flu shots, along with staying home while sick. The Houston Astros and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to square off in the World Series after both won league pennants on Sunday. Trey Thomas fills us in.
Houston swept the New York Yankees with a 6-5 win in Game 4 of the American League Championship Series in New York. The Astros advanced to the Fall Classic for the second straight season. The Phils punched their ticket to their first World Series since 2009 after rallying past the Padres 4-3 in Game 5 of the NLCS. Game 1 of the World Series is set for Friday in Houston. I'm Trey Thomas.
And opening statements in Harvey Weinstein's Los Angeles sexual assault trial are scheduled to begin today. This after a jury of 9 men and 3 women was sworn in. The former movie producer has already been convicted of similar charges in New York and sentenced to over 2 decades in prison. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Pop quiz hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Warning, listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
I thought self-implosion was what was going on during the sushi stuff. Anyways, a lot of stuff going on. Let's see, currently 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this fantastic, may I even go as far as saying marvelous Monday. Yes, marvelous Monday. Anyways, let's get into some things that we probably need to talk about, a lot of things that we need to do, a lot of stuff that sometimes we take a look around and go, why did we talk about that? Because, well, we needed to, so that's why. Anyways, the Kent Wildlife Trust reports that one of its first time in centuries that a bison has been born in the wild in the United Kingdom. Wild animals, including male bison, have been released into the wild and also reserve of the Canterbury, England in recent years. In July, 3 female bison also joined the area. The bison calf was first spotted in early September. But, yes, but that's a big but. Wildlife officials say that they wanted to be sure that it would survive before making an announcement, and they also have felt that they should wait the appropriate amount of time after passing of Queen Elizabeth II before the announcement. Why would you have to wait to talk about some bison stuff once the Queen died? That's kind of weird. I don't want to talk about it because the Queen just recently died. I mean, there's other news stories that do happen. I mean, maybe I'm just being insensitive. I don't know. It just sounds kind of weird. Anyways, last week, a landscape crew working on a mansion in California, which is about halfway between San Francisco and San Jose, found an early 1990 model Mercedes-Benz convertible buried in the yard. Further investigation shows the vehicle was reported stolen back in 1992. Authorities on the scene also brought a cadaver dogs to sniff out the area, but nobody found any kind of body yet. Word noting all indications suggest that the vehicle was buried well before the current owners moved in. But wait, the man who owned the property in the early 90s named Johnny Barkent Liu was arrested multiple times and not for petty theft. One suspicion was murder and another was insurance fraud, in which he tried to sink a yacht in order to get the insurance payout. Liu has since then died. So now the question is going to become, the hypothesis, the theories, the things that people will say. Was Liu involved with the burying of the car? It's always kind of the things that supersede the stuff that you were doing at one point. So you pass away and you're still spoken about in regards to some of the stuff that is happening.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety.
I love how the wrong thing's programmed there.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying.
He is trying to be entertaining.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. Amid the start of the pandemic, Walt Disney World instituted a reservation system that required attendees to book the trip in advance as opposed to just showing up and buying tickets at the gates. This was to help the park plan and staff operations and control the sizes. The system remains in effect today to the ire of the annual pass holders who say that in a new lawsuit that the reservation program restricts their access and creates blackout dates. A Disney rep says the lawsuit is mixed characterized in the program and its history, and we will respond further in court. I mean, let's be realistic. If you're an annual pass holder and you want to go to Disney, and all of a sudden they say, well, you can't get in today because all reservations are done, it's kind of similar to saying that your park is at capacity, but now I can't just show up. It's kind of a weird thing. And let's be realistic. The prices for these tickets, for these annual passes, are not cheap. They're not cheap. And I even say that living in Florida, which you get a discount for living in Florida and getting the pass. So I can't even imagine coming in from another state and wanting to be an annual pass holder. And of course they're tiered and they've changed through the years and all that, but it gets a little crazy. when it's all said and done, when you start thinking about it. Anyways, climate activists continues to defile the priceless art and protest if they see the lack of action to curb climate change. On Sunday, 2 wingnuts threw a mashed potato at the Monet Plan Les Moulins, worth $111 million at the Art Museum in Potsdam, Germany, and then, true to form, they glued their hands onto the wall. It came just hours after the eco-terrorists doused the Vincent van Gogh sunflowers worth $85 million in ketchup at the museum. Fortunately, neither painting was actually damaged, museum officials say. I mean, I just don't get it. I understand that you want to get your point across, but messing up art in regards of doing so, I mean, all they're going to say is, like they said in this one, that you're, losing it. And I get it. I get that people would think that because that's kind of a dumbass thing to do. Just saying. Stuff to talk about for sure. Anyways, Leavenworth is a small town in central Washington state, which has picturesque views of the Cascade Mountains and teeming with wildlife like black bears. A woman living there let her dog out early Saturday morning, only to come face to face with a female black bear charging at her. The bear won the first bout, knocking the woman to the ground. That's when the instincts kicked in, and she punched the bear in the face, sending it scurrying off. Wildlife officials say not to pick a fight with the bear, but once it's attacked, to fight like hell to win. Officials also reported to put a bear down. Reportedly put the bear down later. The victim is recovering from serious but not life-threatening injuries. Can somebody explain that to me? How do you have a serious but not life-threatening injury? If you're dying every day or living every day, you have to kind of do some mathoids when it comes to that. I mean, I'm just saying out loud some things that I probably shouldn't be saying out loud. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk about the market. Let's bring in some John Small.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, October 24th, 2022. Equities experienced some volatility in the prior weeks as hopeful traders and investors cling to the good news while the pessimistic ones cling to the bad. The good news is that Q3 earnings season is a little bit better than expected. The bad news is the outlook for the future continues to deteriorate, and that is weighing on the market. This week, the market faces an onslaught of earnings reports as well as economic data. Among the earnings reports are several FANG names which are foundational to the market. Better than expected reports from them could provide some relief for investors, but the outlook remains dim. On the economic front, the PCE price index tops the list and is expected to come in hot once again. The takeaway will be that the FOMC is on track to continue hiking rates to the 5% level, regardless of the pace, which is bad news for consumers and businesses alike. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
What happened to the days when you could get like a zero rate? I mean, wasn't that kind of cooler? I mean, I don't know. Anyways, what we found was the Dow added about 748 points on Friday to close at 31,082. The S&P added about 86 points to close at 3,752, and the NASDAQ added about 244 points to close at 10,859. West Texas Intermediate closed at $85 a barrel. Brent crude closed at $93 a barrel. The national average of a price of a gallon of gas was $3.80 on Sunday. Bitcoin surged to on Sunday evening, adding about $350 to the trading of its worth, adding it to about $19,500. There was 3,269 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, and about 75 cancellations. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, by the way, before I tell you the next portion that I'm going to tell you, some people were asking about this. I'm going to flash this on the screen, the Safety Differently conference that I told you that you could find out some more information on safetyfm.io. I will let you know. There will be more info later this week. What's later this week? That could be later today. That could be tomorrow. That could be Wednesday. It could be Thursday. It could even be as far along as Saturday. But later this week, there will be more information about the Safety Differently conference that is taking place in the first quarter of 2023. Was I supposed to say that out loud? I think I did. Within the first quarter of 2023. And there is more info at safetyfm.io for the people that want to know. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk real quick about the weekend charts. I'm going to tell you about all 10 movies that were circulating. At the number 10, according to the box office, was Triangle of Sadness, making $600,000. At number 9 was Amsterdam with $818,000. At number 8 was Don't Worry, Darling with $880,000. At number 7 was Terrifier, part 2, with $1.8 million. And number 6, The Woman King, $1.9 million. And number 5 was Lyle Lyle Crocodile with $4.2 million. And then going from number 1 last week to number 4 was Halloween Ends, dropping to $8 million. Now, I want you to think about that. It made $41 million. And now it's down to 8. Now, still, don't get me wrong, $8 million is still $8 million. But the backlash on people not loving this movie is, you can see it right away. And number 3 was Smile with $8.3 million. And number 2 was Tickets to Paradise with $16.3 million. And I guess Black Adam did surpass expectations, which was guessing about $61 million. And it came in at the number 1 spot with $67 million. Did you go see it? 90% Rotten Tomatoes freshness return on audience loving it. So I don't know. Seems like some people really liked it. So that's the important part. I like The Rock. I like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Always great. Doesn't seem like the kind of movie that will appeal to me. I mean, I will watch it at some point. I don't think I will go to the theater to watch it, but that's just me on how I do things as of late, because I'm just a weird guy. That's it. So anyways, let's continue talking about some things that are going on. The Sweetwater Fire near Pikes Peak International Raceway in southern El Paso County is under control after burning around 350 acres. Sergeant Jason Garrett with El Paso County Sheriff Office says that people need to be cautious and careful about the possible high fire dangers.
Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the weather conditions, the ground conditions, and make good decisions so that a situation like this doesn't pop up and endanger everyone.
Okay, all mandatory evacuations have been lifted according to officials. Over 100 firefighters were on the site over the weekend, and almost 17 agencies with El Paso County helped the fire. The blaze was allegedly started by someone shooting at the Range Red Flag Day. No arrests have been made. So how the hell did that happen? Maybe that's the question that one should be asking in that particular regards. I mean, I'm just asking the question. Seriously, like, how does that happen? And maybe there's some more questions to be asked there. That is for sure. Should we talk about this? Yeah, let's talk about it. A new character in the video game Call of Duty latest version Modern Warfare 2 is being depicted as the Denver-based model of Villaggio. Yeah. The local model, Abina, says that she found that on Instagram and wanted to help those dealing with some of the stigma after them growing up.
Always being too American to be Ghanaian, and being too Ghanaian to be American, and then being too black to be white, and too white to be black. And then, I got vitiligo. And then it was like this really wonderful way to show the world that skin color really doesn't matter.
Okay, vitiligo is a condition that causes the skin to lose color. Abina says that she was 21-year-old when she noticed that her skin began developing spots. Her likeness was cast into a video game, and the case operator named Nova is arguably one of the most popular characters in the video game out there today. This comes as the gaming industry, which saw surge in demand during the pandemic, continues to work with diversity of characters, their entities, gender, and uniqueness. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 officially release is this Friday. So hold on. So people are seeing this, people are enjoying it, but it's being released. That's kind of a weird one to say. Take a listen to this. Michigan high school shooting suspect Ethan Crumbley is reportedly planning to plead guilty to all 24 charges that he's facing. The 16-year-old says that he's been charged as an adult, and legal expert Neil Rockin said that he might be sentenced to life in prison without parole.
A juvenile, which Ethan Crumbley clearly is convicted of first-degree murder. That just begins the analysis. The next question is whether or not the prosecutor elects to seek to have him sentenced to life without parole.
Okay, Ethan is charged with killing 4 students and injuring 7 others at the Oxford School in the fall of 2021. Their parents are facing involuntary manslaughter charges for buying him a gun authorities say that he used in the attack. Legal experts Neil Rockland says that Ethan Crumbley is expected to plead guilty to all 24 charges that he faces.
On things like how was he in prison, or has he been in jail? How has he been with the guards? How has he been dealing with others? Has he been attending school? Has he improved psychologically and sociologically since he's been in jail?
That's going to be some interesting stuff that they're going to ask those questions about. You know that. I know that. It'll be interesting to see what happens here in the upcoming weeks with this particular case, because that's the way that it goes from time to time. Anyways, 31 minutes past top of the hour. It's close enough to call it, so let's call it.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, main story time. Time to talk about it. Time to deal with those things that people don't want to talk about, but we have to talk about them from time to time. We have to go through that difficult portion in life and talk about these things that people don't want to do, people don't want to say, people are figuring, hey, why not do it in that fashion? And now it is the time to talk about it. And we ask that question is, when is it time to call it? When is it time to call it? And what can this apply to? There's so many different things in life that you know that it has run its expiration date. That could be your work environment. That could be relationships. That could be anything that you want to kind of put into this box. If it has an expiration date like milk, it's probably be time to get rid of some of these things that are dragging you down. And listen, I know we talk a little bit about everything, but there are times in life that you know that it is time to call these things. You put in the work, you put in the effort, you take a look around and you go, this is not cutting it anymore. And it might just be time to say, peace out, brother. And that's a hard part of life. There are times that we seem to go through things in our lifetime that we go, these were great and they were great for a season. And then the season kind of goes through and it's time to move on. It's just the way that things sometimes work out. And some people are going to have a hard time with that one, and it's okay. Because we have been taught for years and years and years and years that we stand, fight. But sometimes it's like beating a dead horse and you realize that things are not moving forward. And you have to look at it as we talk about that sometimes things do plateau. And the great part about this is that we're talking about things that can be walked away from, because there will be others that can either make it better or there will be other things that you need to do. Now, we can go into the difficult model here if we want to and talk about your workplace. Think about it. There are certain things inside of your workplace that you will not be able to change, but somebody else might be able to change those things, even if they were taking your same blueprint on regards of doing the change. And I know it's a difficult thing to hear at first, but it's something realistic to talk about. I talk about this quite oftenly with people about how you cannot be a prophet in your own land. And if you think about it, really give it some thought, because think about this for a moment. If you have someone else come in and almost repeat verbatim what you want to change inside of the organization that you work for, most people will take a listen because they're an outsider. It's an outsider's perspective. But if it's coming from you, it's kind of like, meh. Yeah, I did say meh. And the reason that occurs is because people are accustomed to what you have going on. And they have seen the moves and changes inside of your lifetime. So sometimes they will not agree with it. Like, I will tell you, I worked at a major retailer many years ago. And if you were a line level employee, and you were to get promoted to supervisor or manager status, you could not be a supervisor or a manager in the same store that you started off at. And people go, well, why was that? Well, the reason behind it was because people saw how you kind of did things previously, and they said that most of the times you would not get the level of respect that you had, even though that you had earned it, you would not get it from the people that were there. And from that particular portion on, I had to learn that whole aspect there of going, well, that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to think about this, because that's how it goes sometimes. It's that thing that I tell people, that when you're talking to your parents, you can't give your parents advice. It's called the powdered butt syndrome. Somebody cannot normally take advice from somebody who they powdered their butts. It's just kind of the way that it works. So with that being said, is there something in your life currently that you know it's time to call? It's time to pull the plug. It's time to move forward. It's time to do other things. It is okay to put energy into stuff for somebody else to come in and complete it. Happens the way that it goes. And I think it's interesting because I've had this conversation with someone recently, and they were telling me that they looked at it a lot, that they were in a relationship because they were a homosexual. And I was like, I wasn't sure I couldn't understand what that meant. And they had to explain it to me, that they were with someone for that way they would not be homeless. And I was like, oh, I guess that's something really different to give some thoughts to. Anyways, with that being said, kind of a weird one, but stuff that we have to talk about, because that is the way that it goes.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you, and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
So can't change the way I know you think. The only time.
Oh, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. We are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Coming across on Safety FM and Radio Big. Doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So there you go. This right here, this is Numb by Beach Tiger. You can find this song on Spotify and iTunes. Thanks to Beach Tiger for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. It's an interesting one. It's for sure an interesting one as we are talking. Anyways, let's get into some more things as we are hanging and banging, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do inside of this lovely multiverse of ours, because that's the way that it always seems to go about as we are talking. So, as we get into this, I slid the music back up. I did that. I did that right there. So as we're getting into this, as we are talking and doing all the stuff, it is time to talk about the most important thing that I will tell you at any point in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can be found at 988lifeline.org. Yes, that's 988lifeline.org. 988 is now active across the United States, just in case. It's a new shorter phone line that will make it easier for people to remember and access mental health crisis and services. Please note that the previous number, the 1-800-273-TALK, that 1-800-273-TALK number will continue to function. All you have to do is just really, you can use it, but the 988 is going to be the easier one to do. Just keep in mind that 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline is a national network of local crisis centers that provide free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis and emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the United States. They're committed to improving crisis services and advancing suicide prevention by empowering individuals and advancing professional best practices and awareness. Find out more information. All you have to do is text the word TALK to 988. That's TALK to 988. Or you can go to the website 988lifeline.org. That's the number 988lifeline.org. Or you can just click on the chat box while you're there. Easiest way to do it. Most important thing that we'll talk about at any portion during this show. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about this real quick. Smile Aware. Yes, I did say Smile Aware. It might not come as a surprise to hear this, but A third of us smile less during the colder months, according to a study. A OnePoll survey also found that around 75% of people feel that their mood is affected the shorter and colder days of autumn and winter, and 61% said they're in dire need to boost the positivity right now. But the results of the poll of 2,000 Brits also highlight how important smiling can be. Smiling is an infectious as laughter, says the expert, with the average smile passing on to 3 more people. 3/4 of those surveyed agreed that the smile from someone brightens their day, and 28% said that it's better than receiving a gift. 36% said that they want them to do something nice for someone else. So they think that smile is the positive effect. The act of smiling makes your brain release more molecules called, let's butcher this name, neurosepticides, to fight stress. It also stimulates the neurotransmitters like dopamine, endorphins, and serotonin. Endorphins have pain relieving power, and the serotonin acts as an antidepressant. It's hard to smile during the colder months because of the temperature, and it's because of January credit card bills. That makes it a little bit more difficult to smile. And fun fact, you can breathe correctly while smiling. Just kidding. I just made you smile by thinking about it. So that's it. So, I mean, I don't know. I will tell you this. And not to be an a-hole, but I like Florida because it's not colder and people still tend to smile all the time. And, you're down here in the South, one may say, in regards of what's going on. So, keeping it in the South makes people happy from time to time. So, I don't know. If you need another reason to smile, I want to give you one right now. And that's by me bringing in some John Smalls. Let's see if he can make you smile right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Ella. Rosa Parks said, "I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear." Excellent quote. So many times we fail because we've not made up our mind. If you're not 100% focused on what you're doing because you haven't even decided what you're doing, that's going to make it hard to succeed. Spend the right amount of time planning, then the right amount of time doing. Like Rosa Parks said, this will also diminish fear. If you're unafraid, you can tackle the project head on and get it done faster and better too. Make up your mind this week to take on a project that you've put off and get that done this week. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Resetting your sleep and wakefulness rhythms can be done very fast if done right. Beautiful studies by Dr. Kenneth Wright of University of Colorado show that exposure to natural light around sunrise and sunset for 2 days is very effective in creating a long-lasting reset for circadian rhythms, alertness, sleep, and for hormones such as melatonin and cortisol. These are not small effects. People often ask how long they need to view sunlight at these times, and really the answer depends on how much cloud coverage there is. But in general, it's 10 to 30 minutes. Don't stare directly into the sun, of course. Try not to wear sunglasses for these 10 to 30 minutes, but eyeglasses or contact lenses are fine, even if they have UV protection. For more information on wellness, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. 50 minutes past the top as we are hanging and banging, doing all the fun stuff that we get to talk about. Anyways, take a listen to this. Did you know researchers had found that songbirds help reduce anxiety and feeling of paranoia among people? In a study of 295 participants, a team of Max Planck Institute of Human Development in Germany examined the impact of hearing birds versus various traffic sounds. Although the bird songs did not positively impact the levels of depression, it did ease the severity of other mental health issues. Conversely, traffic noise was shown to have worsened people's depression. So, are you telling me that I need to move out to the country? Because that's what it's starting to sound like right there as we are talking. I mean, what else would that sound like to you? I mean, I'm just asking. Think about it. What other thing would you think about as we are talking? Anyways, take a listen to this. A missing Fremont family of 4 has been found in Stevens Point, Wisconsin after the disappearance last Sunday. Police Chief Timothy Rodwell says that Anthony Siriano was acting paranoid when 911 to say that he was connected to the people of 9/11 back in 2001 attacks, wanted to make them disappear.
Talk to, whether they be a lifelong friend or family members, they all describe this to be extremely abnormal behavior from Tony and Suzette.
He and his wife, Suzette, and their 2 autistic teenage sons were found safe. Fremont police say that the case is now closed. Fremont Police Chief Timothy Rodwell and says that Tony Santiago wanted the FBI and the CIA to come to his home over fears that someone was trying to kill him.
Normal behavior or normal interactions we have with the community. And that's what's leading me to say, Tony was exhibiting some signs of paranoia.
So interesting stuff going on there as we are talking for sure. Anyways, Boulder police say they're stepping up to prevent catalytic converter thefts.
Get a couple $100 from those metals, and that's just for a couple minutes of work. So it ended up being pretty profitable for a thief.
Okay, over the weekend, Boulder police gave out hundreds of catalytic converter anti-theft kits in effort to address one of the fastest growing crimes in Colorado. The kit it has material like dye to etch a VIN number in the car part, which then becomes part of the law enforcement database. It won't keep the catalytic converters from being stolen, but it will make it easier to keep track of the ones that have been stolen. It will also make it harder for thieves to sell the part. Since 2020, thieves have stolen 4,000 catalytic converters in Boulder and Denver alone. Police also say that their steering wheel locks, more anti-theft kits will be given out on Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the south side. People driving to the event should enter. Why should I know where they should enter into the loop to pick up for the pickup location? So anyways, if you go, you should probably be on the lookout on the things that you should be doing. That's what it sounds like as we are talking. Let's talk about this real quick, because some people are want to hear this. Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott is warning for the increased number of respiratory infections, or RSV, in children this year.
Been somewhat removed from these circulating pathogens, so you don't have as much immunity in the population generally. So it's changed the typical cycle for this virus, and we're seeing these waves of infection from RSV earlier in the season than we would normally see.
On CBS Face the Nation, now Pfizer board member noted that there has been a surge in RSV in 33 states so far. The doctors are seeing more flu cases earlier in the year than normal. They urge everyone to get their COVID booster and flu shot, along with staying home while sick. Dr. Scott also says that he does not expect to see the mandate for the COVID vaccine. Dr. Scott says that he is optimistic about the flu vaccine this year.
Appears to be a good match for the strain. So the vaccine, based on what we see right now, based on the genetic sequence of the strain that's circulating and the antigen that's in the vaccine, does suggest that the vaccine is going to be quite protective this season. So it's a good time to get it.
So what's your thoughts? Are you thinking about getting the quote-unquote vaccine? I'm just asking the question, because it is some stuff to talk about. Anyways, we were talking about this on Friday, so let's talk now. Britain's former finance minister is now the front runner to replace Liz Truss as the prime minister. Here's more news from Mark Mayfield.
Rishi Sunak declared he is formally running to be the leader of Britain's Conservative Party and the next prime minister after Boris Johnson withdrew from the race. Sunak was previously defeated by Truss in the race to replace Johnson in September after losing an election held by members of the Conservative Party. Truss announced her resignation last week after just 6 weeks in office following the implementation of her economic plan that sent the pound plunging. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for that information right there of what is going on inside of the world. Anyways, let's continue real quick with some other stuff because that's what we do. Let's talk about some other stuff. Anyways, taking a look around at some things that happened back on this date. Let's see. Let's talk about this. Back in 2021, Tom Brady becomes the first quarterback in NFL history to record 600 touchdown passes. He reached the milestone with a pass to Mike Evans as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took on the Chicago Bears. Tampa Bay would win 38-3. That was a year ago when that did happen. We're talking about some birthdays for today. Let's see. Jaylen Brown turns 26. Jolene Ramsey, 28. David Castaneda turns 33. Alyssa Taylor turns 33. Charles White, 35. Drake, 36. Adrian Bellion turns 39. Monica Arnold turns 42. Kevin Klein turns 75. And Murray Abrams turns 83 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you as well. It's National Food Day, National Bologna Day, United Nations Day, and World Tripe Day. Yes, I did say World Tripe Day. So just for information purposes of things that are going on. Anyways, if you need some scoops of BS, I have some of those for you. A man set an NYC restaurant on fire over a botched chicken order. It seems that things went from better to worse. Kim Kardashian had turned 42 on Friday. She made it a special day all about herself, a relaxing nap after a catered breakfast, a massage at the pool, followed by an endless shopping downtown. Then she remembered that it was her birthday. Coffee shop in the UK made the news for charging rude customers more than double for coffee. So what's your excuse, Starbucks? A study found that alcohol works as an antidepressant. In other news, man, I'm feeling great at work today. A report says that Americans will spend over $8 billion celebrating Halloween, proving that dressing up like a cheap hooker isn't cheap. So there you go. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, try this one. You know, it's Monday when you have to call in sick to your doctor's appointment. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What question did your kids stump you with? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 20% of us say that they started doing this way back in August. What is it? Watching Christmas movies. So there you go. Anyway, so that's going to sum up everything that we have going on. If you want to come and hang out with us, go to radiobig.fm, which I will be going over there for the next couple hours or so to do the things that we do on that side. If not, you can hang out here on Safety FM and take a listen to the Sheldon Primus show that's coming up next. That's the Safety Consultant show, just in case you were wondering on what's going on there. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM. And Radio Big, because without you, we could not do what we do around here. That is for sure. Now, let me do the anyways. Anyways, if I could leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Kind words do not cost much, yet they accomplish much. Think about it in that fashion. That's what I got for you today. Come and hang out with me, radiobig.fm. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.